morning, beautiful people. My name is Penina Wachera, and welcome to the Younib Breakfast Show here at Younib TV. I hope you have woken up well, and you are excited to face this day. Remember, you can always send in your morning affirmations. Leo umejiambia nini ukiamka? Have you told yourself you're beautiful? Have you told yourself that you feel good? You're great. Remember, this really impacts your mental well-being. And tumekuwa tukiambiwa in the series we've been doing that having good mental health, speaking to yourself in a positive manner really makes a difference. So remember, you can always interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen, 0719 144 144. As it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. So the conversation of today is youth and crime. So what do you know about youth and crime? And today we are here to enlighten you more on that conversation. And as you guys can see, I am having a guest who I want to introduce to you, or I want him to introduce himself to you and tell you guys about what he does. So karibu sana kwenye Younib Breakfast Show. Please feel free.
Thank you.
Yes, please look at the camera. Tell us your name, what you do, and why you're here.
Yes, good morning, Penina.
Good morning.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Rodgers, Okeyo. I am a psychologist by profession. Yes, and I volunteer with the organization called Crime Sipoa. It is based here in Nairobi. Thank you.
Okay, karibu sana. So you guys have seen now why we have brought him here, so that you can be able to have a conversation when it comes to youth and crime. So to start us off, what are the factors that really contribute to youth engaging in crime?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Penina, for that question. So before I delve into the factors that contribute, that make youth go into crime, I want to bring the topics into perspective.
Okay.
I'll start by explaining who a youth is and also what crime
is crime.
Yes.
Okay.
So youth is a developmental stage, and it's a transition stage between childhood and adulthood. You'll find that the age of childhood, according to our Kenyan law, ranges from age 0 to 18 years old, just before someone reaches 18 years. And then thereafter, you go into the youth period, which again, according to the law, is between ages 18 to 35 years. And then the rest is adulthood, before maybe you meet your destiny. So when you come to crime, we refer to crime as any action of either commission or omission. We talk about commission, something that you've committed, or omission, something that you've failed to do, that will cause either physical or psychological harm to a person, or can lead to loss and damage of property. And these actions are usually punishable by law. A criminal act is that something that you do that can be punished by law of a country.
Yeah.
Yes. So when we talk about factors that, then having understood the two concepts, the factors that make the young people to get into crime, one of it I've already mentioned while I was defining who a youth is. We say that these are transitional period of between childhood to adulthood. So you know that growth is a continuous process. So we grow as we go through life. We continue to evolve, and you'll find that even when someone reaches the age of 18, even though legally they've attained the adult status legally, but scientifically the growth continues to occur. And scientifically it's stated that the last organ to mature in the human body is the human brain. You understand?
Yeah.
The human brain matures at ages between 25 to 30 years. So it's normal for any person who has not yet matured to have what we call developmental challenges. So I can pick out a developmental challenge as one of the reasons why a lot of youth go into crime. Since when the brain has not fully developed, then you'll find that these people are prone to poor decision making, which can make them get into crime. So I want us to look at it from that perspective of that these people were still developing, and then they're experiencing developmental challenges. But far from it, we have other common issues that have been far mentioned as making the young people to get into crime. And one of the major issues that has been raised is the issue of drug and substance abuse. Yeah, so you find that at this age, still to tie it to the development, these people are developing at an exploration stage. They want to try new things, and then they get into contact with drugs and substances. Some drugs are illegal, as you know, something like bang. And then once you get in contact with bang, you can then you've already gotten into, you've already committed a crime. But that's directly now. But indirectly, maybe when you are hooked to a drug and now you're trying to sustain your habit, maybe you are a young person, you don't have work, but you have to source for these drugs. What do you do? You have to get money. And some of the methods of getting money to buy the drugs could be theft. Could be criminal methods. So drugs is also abused directly or indirectly. So there are other many reasons. We talk about unemployment. We talk about poverty. We talk about peer pressure or peer influence, just to mention a few. But the one that I will focus most is the issue of mental health, because that's something that that can be corrected. So I think I've mentioned quite a number, but as we go forward, I'll focus also on the issue of mental health. Yes.
Now I know we all understand what youth and crime is all about, and what are the factors that make people go to crime. And remember, you guys, this show is probably brought to you by Miss Your Asian and Younib organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you more on matters mental health, and that is why we are here. Remember, if you need any psychological help, you can find our psychologist through the number 0700 352 250, and they will be able to help you out. So continuing the conversation that we are having, how does the social economic factors or status in our country really impact when the youths to engage in crime?
Yes, when we talk about the social economic factors, then we've mentioned something like unemployment or poverty. So you find that poverty, what it does, it denies people opportunities. When you're coming from a poor background, maybe you won't have the opportunity to go to school, or perhaps not. When you go, you don't have other access to other opportunities of learning. So let's say, for example, someone has finished Form 4 or someone has finished Class 8, and then because of the poor home background, they're not able to access tertiary education, which will enable them to acquire skills that can help them to better their lives. So you'll find that these people, the option that maybe they have at that time is to do what? To engage in some behaviors that can be criminal in nature. But again, I want, as we even talk about the issue of poverty and unemployment, we should say that poverty and unemployment by themselves, they're not contributors to crime, but they can be better understood in relation to, when we talk about, when they can be better understood when they are looked at in relation to other factors, like lack of opportunity, lack of education, opportunity. For example, if someone is coming from a poor background, but they're able to access education, then their chances are better off than someone who comes from a poor background and then there's no access to those amenities. And so let's say if the government provides these amenities freely, you can find that those people can be protected from getting into crime. So the social economic activities, socio-economic affairs, unemployment, poverty can actually make the youth to get into crime. Yes.
So we have gotten to understand what are the social economic things that can help somebody engage in crime. And I want us, as we think about this, as we think about reasons why youths out there are getting into crime, into drug abuse, because we've been told even drug abuse is part of why they go into crime. I want us to take this short break, and we'll be back with more concerning the topic at hand. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Penina Wachera, and our guest here, Rodgers, and we are here to converse or to speak about youth and crime. Before the break, remember what youth and crime is all about, and we've gotten to also understand what makes youths go to crime. So, coming back to the conversation, you had mentioned about peer pressure, peer influence, and now we have something called social media and social networks. So, how do these affect really youth engagement when it comes to crime?
Yes, the youth are very prone to peer influence and peer pressure because you find that in the course of their development, they want to make friends. They even they find themselves in spaces where they have to interact with fellow youths. For example, let's say they've gotten into colleges or universities, and then they're interacting with people who come from different parts of the country, from different cultures. They like to learn new cultures. They like to learn new trends. And that's how the influence actually occurs. So in the course of the influence, they might end up picking something that is also not. Remember, influence can take any direction. It can either be positive or negative. Yeah. Like, for example, you might learn to dress well as a matter of influence. Yeah. But at the same time, you might learn a habit like smoking bang. That's also influence. So as the youth maneuver through this space of maybe education and training, or maybe whatever they're doing in the course of their development, they should be cognizant of the influence that is coming their way. And maybe to address that's why we now insist that the youth should be taught life skills. Life skills should be put in the curricula, so that things like assertiveness. When someone is assertive, a young person is assertive, they're able to say yes or no. They're able to say yes or no. Yeah. Actually, we usually say that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to give explanation. True. If someone tells you something that you don't agree with or you don't like, you just say no, and that's done. But failing to say no is perhaps what actually has gotten a lot of people or a lot of young people into trouble or into crime. Yes, if that
answers the question. It does. Sure. And I know so many people, usually most of the youths, they feel offended or they feel judged when they say no, specifically to some people, because they're like, okay, why do I have to say no to a friend?
Yes, but even also to add a bit on that, you feel that young people want to make friends, and now you make friends, but by being social, and it's through this socialization that even also influence occurs. Yeah. So you may not limit yourself that now I'll be able to avoid influence at all. You live with this influence, but as you're saying, learning to say no will help you to, as you're going through the influence, you resist the negative influence.
Yeah, true. So now we've gotten to understand that it's okay to just say no. It's okay. There's some circumstances that you feel like this is not part of me. Just say no. It's okay to say no, right? We know that family is the basic unit, and everything starts from the family.
Yes.
Like there's one of our great friends, anatuambianga, that if you everything ujinga inazaa kwa familia. If it's greatness, it starts from the family.
Yes.
So how does the family really impact when it comes to youth's dynamic and crime?
So as you've correctly stated, family is very, very key in a person's life of development. And it's because it's from the family that you even learn values. Some of the values that you have even right now, you acquired them since your childhood. Yeah. You are taught, if you find someone who's courteous, someone who says sorry, thank you, please, those are things that were ingrained in them from the family and at a very tender age, right? It's also from the family that you get love, right? Yeah, you usually say that your family can love you unconditionally. True. Your mother, your father will love you whether everyone else hates you, whether everyone else loves you or not. Yeah. So family has a crucial role in building an individual's personality, and you find that if that's not done well, this person might develop some habits, or they might go out there looking for some habits that now will fill the void. And some of these habits that may develop might be criminal in nature. Let me give an illustration or an example. Okay. Let's say a young person who has faced rejection from the family level. Maybe the father has been so abusive to him, or the father doesn't want to see him. And then he goes out there and meet friends, or let's say a criminal or a gang. And then this gang really embraces him or accepts him. you see he'll easily do what? Join the gang, because the love that he was denied at home or at the family level is getting it from, or maybe from the gang, or maybe associates of people who maybe drink. So you find that the people will always, it's a human nature to always look for affection and love, which comes from the family level. But remember, I've also talked about values that are instilled in a family level. Some of these values can help a young person to stay away from crime. Yes.
Okay, so family is important. So if you're a parent out there, ensure that you instill good values to your children. It's from there that they can be able to become better people in the society. Ukiona ameanza kukua mwizi, anaanza kuchukua pesa yako, it's about time that you start disciplining the child. Umwambie this is not the right thing, so that they cannot find themselves wameenda huko nje wakakuwa wezi, and now you start crying because now maybe your child may end up in court and everything. So it's for you to start making the change, right? So mental health, us here, we are really big in mental health. As we say, we are doing a lot of conversations when it comes to mental health. So how does mental health really associate, or how does it work hand in hand with crime? Because I know there's a way they are working hand in hand.
Yes. You're very correct, Penina. And actually, this is a topic that requires even more discussions. The topic of mental health. Mental health is here with us, and we cannot ignore it.
True.
Right now, you'll find that a lot of people, whether even the people that you look at and you see that are fine, might actually be dealing with things inwardly, but they cannot manifest.
True.
And the issue of mental health is also very common amongst the young people. Remember, according to the WHO, it said that cases of suicide are actually they are predominant at the youth stage than at any age at another stage. It's the youth actually who even end up committing suicide. So mental health now as a whole is the person's mental state of mental being, where you're able to handle daily stresses, you're able to be productive in your community, you're able to relate well with people, you're able to deal with the emotions and what have you. So mental health goes a long way, from the very basic things like emotions, as I've stated. Something like anger. If you don't know how to manage your anger, what can it lead you to? That's maybe a question that the viewers can answer.
True. Yeah,
you might have a small conflict. A young person might have a conflict with a friend, and then maybe a bad word is uttered, and then it gets you angry. And then if you don't have the skills to manage anger, you might end up hitting that person, and that's a case of assault. In a worst case scenario, it can even lead to murder or death. You understand? Now, how mental health can really make someone to those mental health facets can make someone to get into crime. But with any person generally, not only the youth, any person with poor mental state are not able to make the right decisions. You understand? And then this failure to make right decisions, they can make decisions that might actually
affect the whole
affect their life, affect the life of other people, or might be criminal in nature. A good example is, let's say, when you're drinking and driving. You understand? It might cause an accident. That's a state of mental. That's a mental state that actually is not functioning optimally.
Okay, so guys, I hope now we've gotten to understand more when it comes to conversation of youth and crime. Tumeingia ndani hadi with the mental health way. How can mental health and crime really affect how can somebody with mental health issues be able to affect them to become criminals? Let me just say that word. Anyway, remember you can always interact or send us your questions through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. And if you need any help when it comes to your psychological well-being, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our psychologist here will be able to help you out with your problem. So let's take this short break and we'll be back with more.
are the best. Hallelujah.
Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show, and today we're speaking about youth and crime. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always interact with us through our social media platforms, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. So I know we've been speaking about crime and youth and everything, but we don't really know what are the crimes, specific crimes that really youths today are involved in. So let's go there.
Okay. So according to the data from the National Crime Research Center, that's the government body that's tasked with reporting about crime. The most common crimes that are committed by the youth are, maybe if I can state them, stealing as leading, and then we have possession of drugs. This might be either cannabis or alcohol, illicit alcohol. And then there's also robbery. There's the crime of assault. Assault is where maybe you've had a fight with someone, and then you've caused them some injuries. That when the doctor looks at them, says that they've really harmed the other person. And so we also have defilement and rape, which are sexual offenses. We have cases of murder, though not very common, but also being drunk and disorderly. That's very common amongst the young people. So those are some of the most common crimes that are associated with the young people.
With young people.
Yeah, this data from the National Crime Research Center, 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've gotten to know what are the crimes that most youths today are involved in. So let's go to now, what are the specific warning signs that, for example, a parent, a friend, a member of the community can look at and see mse ameanza kupotea?
Yes. So that's an interesting question. Because we risk looking at someone and then judging them that this is a criminal. So to best answer that question, maybe we can focus on some of the behaviors that we refer to as maladaptive behaviors or antisocial behaviors. Those behaviors that when you look at, they're not social. And a parent, a teacher, a guardian, a friend can always spot some behaviors that someone have started manifesting and they're not social, meaning they're not good behaviors, and they might be behaviors that are signifying trouble. Right? So they might not signify crime as in essence, but they might signify that this person actually is going through something that can actually be also criminal in nature. And I'll give an illustration or an example. Let's say, for example, in terms of hygiene, someone who has been well-kept, well-dressed, neat, and then all of a sudden they started neglecting their hygiene. They've kept some funny hair, and I'm not saying that keeping rasta is bad, but maybe it's unkempt. You see those dirty and and then they can't take a bath. Then it says that this person, those behaviors can actually be associated with. Also, they can also be associated with. They can point out that this person maybe is doing something that is not good. Is not good. Yeah. So maybe if it's a young person also in school, maybe they've developed delinquency, they're not attending school as frequent. Maybe a lecturer or a teacher can also note that, because that time they might be using it to do something that's not constructive, right? Also, the company that someone keeps. We've talked about peer influence or peer pressures being a contributor to a factor that contributes to crime.
Yeah.
So you should say that show me your friends so that I can predict the kind of person that you are. So if you find a young person keeping company of people with questionable character, because the people that young people are supposed to keep are people that are able to mentor them, people that they're able to relate with positively, exchange ideas, learn. But if you find that someone is keeping friends who are of questionable characters, then you can actually predict that maybe that person is headed toward the wrong direction, or those people might influence him to do the wrong things. Yeah. So those are some of the risk factors, some of the signs that we can look for to predict crime. But I'll emphasize that don't look at someone then judge them. So it warrants maybe further questioning. You probe further. After identifying these behaviors, you probe further, do some investigation and see basically if this person is now actually
going through
has gotten into crime. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So when you talk about now crime and everything,
yes.
We know that maybe youths, when they're taken in after committing crime, when they're juvenile, and specifically juvenile, because we are speaking about the younger age, right?
Yes.
So what are the consequences to these youths specifically?
Yes. So the consequences are dire, and some can be long-lasting. For example, if someone has committed a crime, a young person, let's say 18, 19, 20, we say that youth ranges from 18 to 35. Right. So an 18-year-old should actually be in school. Either they're clearing their Form 4 or they have joined college or a tertiary institution. So if this person gets into crime and then they are incarcerated, they're taken to prison. So it means that some time will be wasted that they could have used to do what? For education or to grow themselves. So that's one of the risk factor. Number two also is that when someone gets into crime, there's a risk of that they might get deeper into crime. You understand? Because once someone has gotten into a habit, stopping the habit is usually
very hard.
Sometimes it's a challenge to stop the habit. So if it's not if proper interventions are not put into place, those people can even go deeper into crime. I've had stories of maybe someone was arrested with possession of cannabis, taken to jail, but also because of the influence that they got there, they come back now knowing how to sell the bang. You see now, they got into crime, but became even worse on it. But even you also understand the effect that this has on families. These people are coming from maybe the parents are struggling to pay your school fees, or maybe to pay your brother's school fees, and then they have to divert that money to the legal process, because once you're taken to the legal process, sometimes you need a lawyer, or maybe your parents have to commit now to come and see you when you're in jail. So there's also the aspect of the family will be affected, but also the economic aspect, because resources have to be used. So there are a lot of bad things that can accompany a young person when they get into crime. Yes.
Okay. So I hope now we've gotten to understand. So if you're a young person out there, aufai get into crime, because you're really affecting not only yourself but also your own family. Tumesikia financial constraints, they are part of the things that itakuwa ina affect your family. So it's good for you to just stay in the right side of the law, right? So what are the prevention and intervention programs that youths can be able to get so that they can be able to prevent themselves from engaging in criminal behavior?
Thank you. Yeah. So there are a lot of strategies that can be employed either by an individual, by a group, by a community, by the government, or by any other organization to help the young people to stay away from crime. So I say that I volunteer with an organization called Crime Sipoa, and one of the things that Crime Sipoa does is to inform people. It operates on three motto: to inform, to reform, and to transform. And to help answer your question, creating awareness, to inform is to create awareness. When you create awareness about crime, then it helps the young people it will help the young people not to get into crime. Most of young people get into crime because they don't know actually that some of the things that they do are criminal in nature. And I'll give you an example. Something like sexual offense. A young man might be 20 or 21 or even 19. And then he may think that having a girlfriend who's 16 or 17 is okay. But in essence, that's a criminal act that can send someone to jail for even 15 years. You understand?
Yeah.
So creating awareness, even fight. Some people think that by fighting is a conflict resolution mechanism, not knowing that it can actually lead to serious criminal implications. Even in the space of social media, the people who have been charged with defamation, you post something that is not
correct.
It's not correct. It's not factual or something offensive that infringes on the right of the other person, and then you find yourself on the wrong side of the law. So awareness creation, giving people information about issues of crime and even how to avoid getting into crime. Then apart from awareness creation, I should say that we have to have a multi-sectoral approach. I mean that all sectors or all units in the society have to work together in order to prevent or alleviate crime. And this means that when one aspect of the society has failed, then it might have a ripple effect on all the aspects. Let's say, for example, there's failure at the family level, but then this person is taken to school, the church is doing its work, but at the family, there's the issue. Then we find that basically, regardless of whatever is done in other sectors, this person can still get into crime. So both individually, as a group, community, government, all people need to come together and come up with intervention programs that can actually help the young people not get into crime. Then still, there are some programs that have been initiated both by the government and some organizations that help people get to not get into crime. The government has the National Youth Service, for example, that if someone maybe has finished Form 4 and they're not, before, let's say they don't have money to go to college, they can apply to join the National Youth Service. They get training, they get skills that can help them to better their future. But at the same time, that empowerment actually makes someone not get into crime. And also you have like things like Wezo Fund. I don't know, you heard of a Wezo Fund that really supports young people. Maybe if you want to have you have a business. Right now we have the Hustler Fund. Those are interventions by the government. The community still has its own interventions. There are church organizations that have programs that educate young people, inform young people. So those programs run by government, organizations, maybe individuals can help young people. But also availing opportunities to young people. You understand that I should say that between the ages, that age of between 18 and 35, that's when someone is very energetic and very productive. Because you see, even in terms of body mass, that's when growth actually happens so much. So, and you find that these people are also very creative. So when opportunities are available to young people, we can tap on their energies and their capabilities positively. Because if these energies are not tapped positively, they can be used on other things, which actually could be criminal in nature. And maybe I can give an illustration also to better explain that point. You find that maybe a young person who uses their smartphone, they might learn some bad things in the smartphone, like conning people. Which basically maybe they could have learned a skill like digital marketing, or maybe coding, or like you understand that everything that has a good side has this one
a negative
side. So tapping on the potential, giving opportunities to young people in all spheres of life, be it education, even in church. The voice of the young people should be heard in church, in political space, everywhere, can really help young people to be empowered, and then the empowerment actually helps them to stay away from crime. Yes.
So thank you so much for empowering us and also enlightening us on the topic youth and crime. And I know we are now better informed. Here also we say that we are here to inform you, to inspire you, and also to give you information that will make you a better person. And I think that we have been able to achieve through this show. So if, for example, somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they get you?
So as I said, my name is Rodgers Okeyo Manason. I'm a psychologist by training. I'm also a volunteer with the Crime Recipe organization, a community-based organization that deals with crime prevention, or creating awareness about crime. So you can find me through my social media platforms. On Facebook, Rodgers Manason; Instagram, Rodgers Manason; LinkedIn, Rodgers Okeyo Manason. Yes, and then we continue the conversation.
So thank you so much for your time. I am sure we have gotten to learn so much. For everyone who has been behind our cameras and also who has made this show a success, thank you so much, Esther and Dante, for making this show a success. And to you, our viewers, thank you so much for being with us since we started this conversation, and also for always sending in your views, your morning affirmations. We are really, really grateful that you keep on giving us the energy to continue working and to continue bringing you these awesome conversations that will help you become a better person. So until next time, do have a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.